I'm Daniel J. Kuzinowicz, the head coach of men's soccer at Penn State Harrisburg.
I'm Keenan Schaefer. I'm the assistant coach here at Penn State.
The first thing I'd like to do is just discuss a little bit with you my staff for the year. I'm really excited. I was able this offseason to acquire, I think, an outstanding coaching staff. First off, Keenan, who's been with me going into his second year now, and he's had a couple springs, I think does an outstanding job. He takes care of all the logistical things. He kind of takes a big lead in recruiting. His knowledge of Central PA is outstanding, his background. And then otherwise we were able to add Charlie Johnson, who I think was a big add for us. He's a former CAC guy, York goalkeeper, and he's done an excellent job with our goalkeepers. We've got Dustin Bixler, who's a name that probably doesn't even need any explanation in Central PA. He's the longest standing City Islander. I think he played there 9 or 10 seasons as a starter at center back, and he's been a godsend for our center backs, and I think working in the defensive area. We were able to recently acquire Mark Ludwig, who's a former head coach at York College and an assistant in Town, who's got a wealth of knowledge and experience. I was able to battle against him for years, and I've always respected him as a coach. And we've still got Kobe Brown coming back as a volunteer who played here under me, was an assistant, and I think is great with the guys. He's great in recruitment. He's going to help a lot in the social media area, and he's going to help out with a bunch of different areas. So I'm really excited, I think, about the staff that I've been able to assemble, and I think it's going to be very beneficial to our program. In regards to the personnel and the roster, we're excited because for me, I've got Oscar. He's my first 4-year player that I've had here, and that's special, I think, to finally have a senior that I've been able to coach for a few years. And we've also got Louise, who'll be a senior, and a very strong junior class that, they came in and immediately a lot of them played a lot as freshmen. And I think now they're kind of growing and maturing into that role as upperclassmen, because they've gotten some good experience. I think our sophomore class is talented, and, we've got a freshman class with some talent and some work ethic, and I think they've bought into our game model. They've bought into what we want to do here. A lot of them are quick learners, and they're competing right away. And I've often felt like my whole career going into 18th season that it's all about how they're going to mesh. I think our success, how we're going to come together, is how they're integrated. Can we get 11 thinking like one, playing like one? What kind of choreography do we have, especially going forward? How organized and connected we are defensively. If Keenan has any comments about that as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I picked up from what Coach is talking about is I think our crop that's in this year is probably going to be one of the more talented groups that we have had. But we're coming off a season where we had our best season ever, 14-4-4, and the whole reason why that was because of great leadership and also because of the buy-in. Everybody doing their job, everybody knowing their job. So, we're excited about this group, but the real tell of the tape is going to be if they can go and buy in as much as last year's group did.
I think in NCAA soccer, there's just not enough time. Like our preseason's tiny, and there's not enough time to get them fit, get them tactically aware, get them technically. So I think you got to adopt, like us. It's just get better every day. Like each day, we just got to be better than we were the day before, and that's going to continue through the early non-conference slate. That's a very strong slate for us, but that's what it's going to be. I think it's just get better, one step at a time. It's all of those things that you mentioned, but we're trying each and every day to come out, just get one step better, have the freshmen, and I feel like they're learning, they're growing. We only got to have one scrimmage, and it was cut short because of lightning, so we got 47 minutes in against an opponent. So, we're hoping now to, where I think I would have loved a little more live action against opponents, but at the same time, I think our guys are super hungry right now and ready to go and fresh for tomorrow. We just had an opportunity to get, with us, it's not even just the best teams in the area. Messiah College, one of the best teams every single season in the country. But then what a lot of people in this area don't realize is Oneonta State, who is extremely well coached, they've been to 3 Final Fours in the previous 5 years. So we're playing 2 teams that are regularly going to the Final Four. You're going to test yourself early. We're going to learn what our strengths are, what works, what doesn't work, what our weaknesses. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves before we get to NEAC play. And, the NEAC, I think a lot of people would say maybe it's not quite as strong as with the CAC, but I actually feel in men's soccer it's a very strong conference. It's very well coached. You look at some of the teams at the top, Abington the last 2 years, their head coach was a national champion at UConn. And then you look at SUNY Poly, who had won it 2-3 years and had some excellent teams. Peterson Jerome was a Big Ten Player of the Year and, an MLS draft choice from Ohio State. So he's an excellent coach. Tommy at Lancaster Bible's a hustler. He works hard and his teams are always well coached and organized. And, the list goes on and on. I actually think, the coach now at Coble Skills, a former Ohio Wesleyan guy who's, their coach is the winningest coach in collegiate history in men's soccer. So, the pedigree of coaching in men's soccer, I think, in this conference is strong. So I start with such a strong non-conference slate. I feel that really is going to get us ready for any AC men's soccer play, being that it's all new to us.
Yeah. Every single year, Coach K preaches the fact that our end goal is to win a national championship. Yeah. Every single year. It never changes. So whether we're in the CAC or in the NEAC, it's always the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that whatever conference you're in, the ultimate goal for every team, you want to win the national tournament. And in the beginning, you've got to say, okay, first off, we've got to make the conference tournament, win the conference tournament, win NCAA. And, that's our ultimate goal. It was in the CAC. We felt like we were competitive in every match. And, and I thought the CAC had some great coaches, some great teams. At one point last season, 7 out of 8 of our teams were at least regionally ranked. That's an insane thing to think about. But like I said, I think the NEAC, there's some excellent coaches. I believe that some of the teams are very good. And the other thing that's unique, I think, to the NEAC is in men's soccer specifically, they've won in the national tournament. Morrisville State has won the national tournament. I believe Abington has. Berks women, I think, have made a run. So, a lot of the teams, I think, in the NEAC that have not had success when it comes postseason, that's different in soccer. I think the soccer teams have had success in the NCAA tournament and beyond. So, we know that it's going to be tough. And it's new to us, and I think that's always challenging. All these coaches know each other, their systems, their styles, their habits, and we're all new. So we recognize this is going to be a big challenge, I think. If I was going to put in one thing, I think when I got here, for any coach, the most important thing we do when we establish ourselves is set the tone for the culture. Yeah. Our job is to create the culture and then to foster what we want within our culture. And I was fortunate. When I came here, they're coming off a 3-win season, and I think that the culture wasn't quite right, just needed tweaks, but we had good people. Yeah. We had some talented players. And, we went from 3 wins and 1 conference win the very next season, which was my first. We had 13 wins, and we won 5 conference matches and finished 4th in a very strong CAC. So, but that happened because I think of player buy-in. That they bought in. I think for some of them, they'd said, we saw what you'd previously done, and we were willing to listen and kind of keep an open ear. But they were great. We had great players. I was blessed to be given the Hoover brothers and Panuccio and all these great guys, Kobe Brown, who were just willing to listen, Vic Weaver, Chase, Phil, all those guys were just willing to listen, willing to work hard. They wanted to win. They just need a little direction, and I think the culture to be created. And then I think since that culture and foundation was strong in creation, it's been able to kind of be stabilized, and now those expectations are just passed on to the next group and I think that's what good, successful winning programs do, is they don't go through those ups and downs because they have a strong foundation based on, their core values, based on their goals, objectives, and their culture.
Yeah, before I got here, I was at Millersville University under Steve Woodison, and he was able to create a really good, successful culture there, and I knew just from what I've heard when I came here that the success, that the turnaround. I knew that they were finding success, and I was excited to see if that kind of culture was also here. And when I came here, it was obvious. I mean, the guys buy in. Coach K, has set up an environment for them to be successful because they understand their expectations. They understand, what he wants from them, and so it allows them to reach for that and to strive for it. And because of that, we've had success, which is excellent.
I can't. I mean, Keenan might actually better answer that than me. For me as a coach, it really doesn't. I'll be honest. I remember the first time last year that we were receiving votes in the top 25. One of the players or somebody came and told me, might have even been Keenan that came to tell me, and I didn't even know. I don't really pay attention a lot. I've always said the rankings, I think, are, it's opinions. And at the end of the day, the only one that gets justified is the last game, the last day, whoever's still standing and won, they're number one. Everybody else is just a matter of people's opinions. And, so it doesn't really fuel me, but in terms of excitement, I do think it excites the players. I think it's exciting for recruits to see, hey, this team is, 4 years ago won 3 games, and now they're getting votes top 25 in the country, and they're, getting regional rankings and playoffs and all these cool experiences. And so I think for the players, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I mean, in the heat of the battle and during the season, you really can't be thinking too much about it. It's one of those things that after it's all said and done, you can look at the achievements and be like, wow, this is what this group has achieved. And, so it excites the, current students. And then, the players that are potentially coming in, like it can excite them to want to be part of it. Yeah. So I think, in the heat, not so much of the battle, but, afterwards, it can be something that can be exciting for a program.
I mean, here's the thing. I think the players are excited because, as you mentioned, I would have to guess this is probably the strongest schedule that men's soccer here has ever played. Yeah. I mean, when you can get teams like Messiah and Oneonta and LVC, Moravian, who's coming off a great, and they're very welcome. I mean, their coach now is, he got 20 plus years as Division I head coach. So, we put good teams on. We wanted to challenge ourselves, but, we're real excited. I think this is a great time period. I think it's an exciting time period. We've got lots of cool announcements, and, I think it's a great time. I tell the players all the time on game day, it's a great day to be a Penn Stater. And in terms of, I try not to look more than what's right in front of me. I've always tried to do as a coach. It was funny because, it was actually here in my first season, we beat LVC, who at the time I think was 25th in the country. We beat 2-1 overtime. It was a pretty exciting win, and that happened to be my 200th as a men's coach. And, afterwards, I remember people asking me, and I remember my 100th years ago, I've always said from the very beginning as a coach that the most important win for any coach at any point in time is the next one. So right now we're always going to be focused on that next one, and not thinking too far ahead or too far down the road. And we know we've got each and every game our work's cut out. I think every game this year is going to be highly competitive. So if we're not sharp, we don't have attention to detail, there's not going to be a big margin for error. We're going to have to really be on point to be successful this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's provided, I think, that not only just the team, but hopefully the community, the campus, an opportunity for some excitement, and something that, could be a spectacle for them to come watch. And we're just, hoping that the boys, can live up to the potential of the schedule, and that, we can start getting some excitement about men's soccer around here even more than where we're at.
The only thing that I have is I know that my 4 kids said they're going to watch this as soon as it gets posted. So I've got to say to Justice, Aaliyah, Amelia Rose, and Jemiah, I love you guys, and watch the game tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Sounds good. No, I'm just excited for the opportunities that the boys are going to be provided, and hoping that they can rise to the occasion.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you guys for taking the time.
Thank you.